Hi everyone! Lab 2 question 4 talks about bonus arrangements. And in order to fully understand this topic, you need to be familiar with a few different provisions. First, section 5 subsection 1. Then, section 12 subsection 1, paragraph B. Then the main provision that people usually consider when considering bonus arrangements would be section 78 subsection 4. And we need to be aware of salary deferral arrangements, which is defined in section 248 subsection 1. We'll specifically look at paragraph K. And the reason for that is because if we end up in a salary deferral arrangement situation, it has to be included into income, and that's according to section 6 subsection 1 paragraph I. Let's go through all of those provisions before we go to the question. Section 5, subsection 1, income from office or employment. So a taxpayer's income for a taxation year from an office or employment is the salary, wages, and other remuneration, including gratuities, received by the taxpayer in the year. The key word here being received. What we mean there is if it's received, the taxpayer has to include it into income. This implies a cash basis of accounting. Let's go on to subdivision B, section 12, subsection 1, income inclusions. There shall be included in computing income, the following amounts as are applicable. If we go to paragraph B, we get to amounts receivable, any amount receivable. So there are a lot of things a business needs to include, including amounts receivable. This implies an accrual basis of accounting for a business. This leads us to section 78, subsection 4, unpaid remuneration and other amounts. Where an amount in respect of a taxpayer's expense, that is superannuation or pension benefit, a retiring allowance, salary, wages, or other remuneration, in respect of an office or employment is unpaid on the day that is 180 days, note the 180 days here, after the end of the taxation year in which the expense was incurred, for the purposes of this act other than this subsection, the amount shall be deemed not to have been incurred as an expense in the year and shall be deemed to be incurred as an expense in the taxation year in which the amount is paid. The notes here are quite helpful. It basically explains that under 78.4, a bonus declared by the employer in a fiscal year must be paid by 180 days after the end of the year to be deductible. Okay. Referring to after the end of the employer's fiscal year. 248 subsection 1, salary deferral arrangement. Paragraph K talks about a plan or arrangement under which a taxpayer has a right to receive a bonus or similar payment in respect of services rendered by the taxpayer in a taxation year, but to be paid within 3 years following the end of the year. 6 subsection 1 paragraph I, salary deferral arrangement payments. The amount, if any, by which the total of all amounts received by any person in the year out of or under a salary deferral arrangement. So a salary deferral arrangement needs to be included into income in this year. So if we go to the question, Marquez Limited is a Canadian public company with a taxation year that ends on November 30th. Its shares are widely held. Its senior management is made up of 4 Marquez brothers. As the year ending November 30th, 20X7 has been very successful for the company, it is declaring a bonus to each of the 4 senior executives. All of the bonuses are declared on November 29th, 20X7, 1 day before the end of the fiscal year. The details of these arrangements are as follows. We'll look at Chico. Chico is the CEO of the company. Because of his conservative lifestyle, he has little current need for funds. Given this, his bonus will be paid on March 31st, 20Y3, which is his expected retirement date. Note, since we are using generic dates, 20Y3 is 6 years after 20X7. Let's take a look at Chico's situation. I tried to draw a timeline in Word, but I don't typically use timelines, so we'll see how this goes. In 20X7, in November, right before the end of their fiscal year, the bonus was declared for services rendered in that year. However, it's not going to be paid, according to what's said here, until 20Y3, March 31st of that year. So sometime over here in that year. So we can see that the bonus is clearly not paid within 3 years of the end of the year in which the services were rendered. The services were rendered right at the end of that year. So 1, 2, 3 years, that would have been 20Y0. And the bonus is not paid by then. So this is considered a salary deferral arrangement. That means the company will deduct the bonus in the taxation year ending November 30th, 20X7. So when it was declared in that year over there, if you can see the mouse. And the taxpayer will include the bonus in the taxation year ending December 31st, 20X7. In other words, the taxpayer has to include the bonus in the year it's declared, even though it's not going to get paid out until 20Y3. This is obviously quite disadvantageous for the taxpayer. Let's take a look at the last brother, Harpo, who is in charge of information technology for the company, plans to leave the company in mid-20X8. It has always been his dream to pursue a musical career, and to that end, he will need funds to carry him through the early stages of that endeavor. Given this, his bonus will be paid on September 1st, 20X8. We could take a look at Harpo's situation. And we could try to use a timeline here in Word. I hope it makes sense. So in 20X7, right there is where it is declared. And 180 days after that would be in 20X8, which would be somewhere over here, I guess, somewhere in May. So 180 days would be somewhere like right around here is what I'm guessing. But it wasn't paid then. It was paid closer to this point in time, somewhere in September. Because of that, we can say the bonus is not paid within 180 days of the end of the year in which the services were rendered. But it is paid within 3 years. So this is not a salary deferral arrangement. What does that mean? It means that the company will deduct the bonus in the taxation year ending November 30th, 20X8. Meaning over here in this year, if you can see the mouse, is when it will be deducted. Although the company wanted to deduct it back here, they couldn't because they wouldn't pay within 180 days. For the employee, this works out okay. The taxpayer will include the bonus in the taxation year ending December 31st, 20X8. So the taxpayer doesn't have to include until the end of their 20X8 calendar year. Okay, I hope you all found that to be helpful. Unfortunately, I didn't have a pen or anything I could use to draw out a better timeline for you. Remember, full solutions will be posted, so make sure you try them all out, including the 2 employees that we did not cover in this video. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.